Most potato varieties you'll find in Jamaica are dense, starchy, and full of that signature sweet flavor. They come in all shapes, sizes, and skin colors, but for pudding, you want that dry, starchy kind. That's what's going to give you that firm, sliceable texture. I'm using the common purple skin, light yellow flesh variety, but other types work too, as long as they're not watery. This is just over 2 pounds of sweet potato, but I want exactly 2 pounds peeled. Sweet potato gives about an 80% yield when peeled, so it's always best to start with a bit more. A lot of Jamaicans add another starchy vegetable to the mix. Yellow yam is the most popular, but taro, like dasheen or cocoa, also work. They help with texture and make the pudding set without needing too much flour. You don't want the flavor of those to overpower the sweet potato though. I had planned to use a bit of yellow yam, but I couldn't find any good ones at the market, so today we're skipping it. So it just started pouring outside, and this is actually really great weather for a warm slice of sweet potato pudding. I'm keeping things traditional by grating the sweet potato by hand. Yes, it's way more work than using a blender or food processor, but I find the texture of the finished pudding slightly different. It might seem small, but that texture has a big impact on the overall experience. You might be using the same ingredients your grandma used and still wonder why yours doesn't taste the same. The thing with sweet potato pudding is small changes in technique can make a big difference. This isn't as fine as my grandma would have grated hers, but this will work. Sweet potato will oxidize and darken if you leave it out, but that's really not a big deal. And just like that, we've got 2 pounds of grated sweet potato. Now, let's talk about the other ingredients. Fresh coconut is essential in sweet potato pudding. It brings all those rich, complex flavors we expect from a good slice of pudding. You could, of course, use canned coconut milk. Those are very convenient. But I've yet to find a brand that comes close to the flavor of fresh coconut milk, so there's a big trade off. Making it fresh is simple, but I'll still leave a full guide below. My grandmother used to grate hers, but I recommend using a blender. Imagine grating sweet potato and shelling and grating coconut on top of that. Just blend it and save yourself the trouble. Nothing of value would have been lost. Alright, let's get everything together. First, grab our 2 pounds of grated sweet potato. Next, I'm adding 2 cups of all-purpose flour. You can use less or even none, especially if you included a starchy root vegetable. I'll get into that a bit more later, along with how to make this gluten-free. Next, I'm adding 2 cups of brown sugar, 2 tablespoons of vanilla, this is the fake stuff, 1 tablespoon of powdered cinnamon, that's a tablespoon of lime juice. This isn't a traditional ingredient, but that little bit of acid really brightens and balances the flavor of the pudding. Next, I've got a teaspoon of salt. If you've ever had a sweet potato pudding that tasted flat, most likely the salt was skipped. Then we've got some mixed spice. This is a blend of warm spices popular in Jamaican pastries. This one is my homemade mix and I'll link that video below. The store-bought stuff still works, but homemade just has a different buzz. I'm adding 2 teaspoons because this stuff is really potent. Next, I've got a teaspoon of rosewater flavoring and a teaspoon of almond extract. These two can easily overpower the other flavors, so we keep them nice and subtle. Now, I'm grating in about a teaspoon and a half of nutmeg. The flavor of nutmeg really shines when it's freshly grated. Then in goes a stick or about 4 ounces of melted butter. This is optional, especially if you can't have dairy, but it adds a little extra richness. Now for the star of the show, fresh coconut milk. This is 4 cups that I got from blending the dried coconut. All that's left now is to give this a good mix to hydrate the flour and bring everything together. Yeah, sweet potato pudding is a really straightforward treat. If you wanted this to be gluten-free or you just don't want to use any flour, you can simply drop the flour. You'll end up with a softer pudding, but if you want that firmer texture, you can add 2 to 3 tablespoons of cornstarch to compensate. What I like to do at this stage is give it a taste. Unlike a lot of pastries, you can adjust your spices here before it's baked. Add a bit more salt, check the sweetness, and fine tune it. I know this one's good because I've been working on this recipe for a while, but whenever I'm eyeballing it, I always taste it at this point. Great, our mix is mixed, so let's bake this. I've got a thick greased aluminum pot. In Jamaica, we call these Dutch pot or Dutchie. Traditionally, sweet potato is baked over wood fire in one of these. The Dutch pot would be placed over a fire and a piece of metal like a zinc sheet or even the inverted lid would be put on top and covered with hot coals. That way the pudding bakes from both the bottom and the top. The famous phrase hella top, hella bottom and hallelujah in the middle comes from this exact method, especially when talking about Jamaican puddings like sweet potato pudding. Alright, let's get the hallelujah into our grease dutchie. I'm not baking this over coals, but that thick pot is still going to be functional. Potato pudding is one of those pastries where a thick crust is actually desirable, and this dutchie helps us get that. Now, this is going into the oven at 300 degrees Fahrenheit for about 2 hours. That might sound low. Some people bake it at 350 for about an hour and a half, but because this is a thicker pudding, I'm cooking it a little lower and slower. That way it sets properly all the way through without the top browning too quick. As it cooks, it will start setting from the edges inward. You'll know it's done when it starts pulling away from the sides of the pot. Those cracks on the surface, that's actually a good sign. Cracked all over usually means it's perfectly baked. After almost 2 hours, this is done, so I'm pulling it from the oven. Smells incredible. Those warm spices really come alive and I can't wait to dig in. I love sweet potato fresh out of the oven. But if you know traditional sweet potato pudding, you know we're not done yet. Now, I need a cup and a half of that fresh coconut milk. Add a tablespoon or two of sugar, a pinch of salt, and just a splash of rum for that extra buzz. Give that a good mix and pour it right over the pudding. This is going back into the oven. The coconut milk will dissolve the top layer and start to gel. That's how we get that signature custard topping Jamaican puddings are known for. I'm finished this at a higher temperature, around 375 degrees Fahrenheit. Usually this step is done before the pudding is fully baked so everything finishes together. But no worries, pudding can handle extra time, just don't burn it. If your custard doesn't look right, you can always pour on a bit more of that coconut mixture. Undercooking is the real issue here. A pudding that seems cooked but isn't all the way through will have a really short shelf life. I've had pudding spoil overnight before. It tasted fine out of the oven but it wasn't fully done. So when in doubt, bake it a little longer. Growing up, sweet potato pudding was always a Sunday dessert. I remember my mom whipping one up after Sunday dinner, cooking it outdoor on the wood fire. I would also have it with chocolate tea on Monday mornings before school. Those are some delicious memories, except for the late Monday morning heartburn. Jamaican chocolate tea and potato pudding was a bit much for me. And there you have it, sweet potato pudding with that beautiful custard topping. It should have a nice thick crust, but let's cut into it and see how we did. Usually we wait for it to cool completely, but like I said earlier, I prefer mine piping hot straight out of the oven. For a lot of baked goods, you check the doneness with a knife or toothpick. If it comes out clean, it's done. But a good sweet potato pudding, it will always fail the toothpick test. That is it. The grated sweet potato is totally cooked out, but it still gives the potato pudding some texture. My favorite part of this sweet treat is that right there. That thick caramelized crust on the bottom. Absolutely incredible. I've made this exact recipe in a baking pan before and the results are very different. That thick dutchie holds on to heat much better and gives us a result closer to what you would get when cooking over wood fire. If you're like me and crazy about the crust, try making thinner puddings. You get way more crust and as a bonus they bake much faster. Alright, let's get this cooled and check it out. It definitely cuts easier once the starches are fully set. That looks just like my Monday morning breakfast, and the crust will still be very delicious. This is incredible. I'll leave the ingredients list below, so make sure you give it a try and let me know how it goes. I'm Nick, this was delicious. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, bless up.